Opening line. Hi everyone, welcome back. Thanks for joining us today. We've got a brand new story to share with you. So let's begin. My name is Brady. When my girlfriend said she needed space, I gave her the whole damn galaxy. When she came back, her key to the house didn't work, and neither did her excuses. Here is how everything went down. We had been together for nearly 3 years, and honestly, I thought we were solid. We had our disagreements like everyone else, but I always believed we'd work through anything. About a year and a half into our relationship, Selena started spending more and more time at my place. At first, it was just a few nights a week. Then, it became most nights. I didn't mind because it actually made me happy. She told me she didn't feel comfortable at home anymore. Her relationship with her parents had always been tense, but things had gotten worse. I didn't press for all the details, but from what she told me, it sounded like the environment was toxic, lots of arguments, lots of judgment. She looked tired when she talked about it. So when she asked if she could stay with me for a while, it felt like the natural next step. Truth be told, it wasn't even a conversation I hesitated on. I was already thinking long-term with her. So when she brought it up, I didn't treat it like a big deal. She was already there most of the time anyway. I told her, of course. Stay as long as you need. And just like that, she moved in officially. Selena worked at this local broadcasting station downtown. It was just one of those smaller, city-based stations that covered local events, community news, and weather updates. She mostly did assistant production work, sometimes helped write scripts, and occasionally got to do voiceovers. The thing was, she complained about how the pay was garbage. And look, I get it. I've worked hard jobs before. I know what it feels like to be underpaid and overworked. Selena would come home drained, irritated, and more often than not, she'd vent about how unfair it was that her paycheck barely covered her transportation and food for the week. Over time, she wasn't even trying to cover any of the bills. It didn't feel like a big deal because I was in a good place financially. I had a stable job in IT, and I could cover the rent, groceries, utilities, and still have some left to save or spend. So I didn't ask her for anything. She'd chip in once in a while with small things, like picking up takeout or buying some toiletries, but I carried the bulk of everything. Still, as time passed, I realized she never talked about getting a better job or going back to school or changing anything. She'd just complain. You know, for most of our relationship, we weren't perfect, and I'd never claim we didn't argue. But we always found a way back to each other. We'd disagree about little things, but it never got nasty. We'd talk, cool off, and move on. But over the past few months, Selena started pulling away in subtle ways. At first, I thought maybe she was just tired or stressed from work, but when I asked if everything was okay, she'd shrug and say, "I'm fine," with that distant tone that clearly meant she wasn't. Soon, small things blew up way bigger than they needed to. I tried to keep the peace. I asked if something was bothering her, if we needed to talk, but she'd always say it's fine. When I pressed, she exploded, saying I was always trying to fix things that weren't broken. I was speechless. One evening, Selena sat me down and told me she needed space and would be going away for a while. She added that she didn't want me to call or text her. She said she wanted to be alone for a while. I remember asking her if this was about me, but she was quick to shut that down. She said, "No, this isn't about you. It's not about anyone. It's about me." I asked the only thing that made sense to ask in that moment. "Are you saying you want to end this relationship?" And she said no, that this wasn't a breakup, that she just needed some time apart, just time to figure herself out. Said she was overwhelmed, that she needed quiet. She also told me she'd already spoken to her boss, that she'd gotten some time off from work. I didn't even know she had been planning that. It made me feel like I was the last person to be brought in on something that affected both of us. But I didn't argue. I told her to be safe, even though everything in me felt unsettled. The very next day, I watched her pack a small vacation bag. She didn't take much, just enough for a few days. I didn't ask where she was going. She didn't offer that information either. She left quietly. In the days that followed, I felt her absence. Each day that passed without her felt heavier than the last. Wondering what is really going on with her. On the 4th day of Selena's absence, something happened. Up until that point, I was trying to be understanding and respect her space like she asked. I was just sitting at the kitchen counter that morning. I got a message from Nate. He's a mutual friend of ours. The message was short. Just a, "Did you end things with your Selena?" and an image attachment. I opened it and was stunned. It was a screenshot from Snapchat. Selena, on a beach, sitting right next to her ex. I was still trying to make sense of the image before Nate sent more. I didn't even realize when I stood up from my chair. I launched the Snapchat app on my phone immediately. I tried searching her name, tried seeing the story for myself, but it wasn't there. Her profile came up, but no story. No posts. Nothing. And that's when it clicked. She'd blocked me. She went on this vacation, posted all of this, and made sure I couldn't see it. But she forgot we had mutual friends. Forgot that someone somewhere might actually have a shred of decency and let me in on what was really going on. I called Nate immediately. I needed to hear it from someone else before my brain imploded. He picked up and I asked him straight up, "This is real? This is happening now?" He didn't hesitate. "Yeah. It's on her public story. Is it not visible to you?" he asked. And right there, in that moment, everything made sense. Her being cold, distant, snapping at little things. She said she felt like she was losing herself. But now I saw it for what it was. She wasn't losing herself. She was already drifting. The space she asked for was to be spent with the same guy she once cried about, the same guy she claimed hurt her, and the same guy she swore she was done with. She really thought I wouldn't find out. She wanted space? I will make sure she gets all the damn space in the universe. That night, after seeing those screenshots, I didn't sleep. My mind was racing. I'd turn over, shut my eyes, try to force sleep, but nothing. At one point around 3 a.m., I actually picked up my phone. I stared at her contact for so long. I almost called, but then I stopped myself. What was I even going to say? Beg for answers she'd lie through anyway? Give her a chance to feed me some excuse, some half-truth about how it wasn't what it looked like? No, I deserved better than that. I was done making room for her confusion at the cost of my peace. By the time the sun started creeping in through the blinds, I had made my decision. The first thing I did that morning was call a locksmith. I told him I needed all the locks changed, front door, back, even the storage unit lock in the garage. The guy came out that same afternoon. While the locksmith guy was getting things done, I looked out and saw her car sitting in the parking spot. Technically, it was hers. But legally, that car was in my name. I paid the down payment, I made the monthly payments, and I even covered the insurance. Why? Because her credit was garbage. She couldn't even qualify for a decent cell phone plan, let alone a car loan. I did that for her because I cared. But now, that car sitting out there just felt like a monument to my stupidity. I decided to sell it. The next day, I grabbed the paperwork, contacted the DMV, and got the ball rolling to sell it. Took it to a dealership that offered a fair trade. Didn't lose much. They cut me a check, and I didn't feel a single ounce of guilt handing over the keys. She wasn't going to need them anyway. After that, I turned to the apartment and started packing her things around the house. I didn't trash anything, didn't get petty. Every single item that was hers went into storage boxes. I even took care to wrap her little glass perfume bottles in bubble wrap so they wouldn't break. Why? Not because I cared anymore, but because I wanted no excuse for her to ever contact me later, crying about something being damaged. I stacked the boxes in the corner of the guest room. A full week passed before she came back. I wasn't home when she showed up. She called me that afternoon, and I answered. Her voice came sharp. "Why doesn't my key work?" I answered, "Because I changed the locks." There was a pause on her end. Then she said, "But why?" I didn't yell when I told her, "You asked for space. I'm giving you all of it." That's when her tone flipped from confused to panicked. I added, "You left to figure things out. You figured out enough to lie on a beach with your ex. So go back to him. I'm not holding anything for you anymore." She exploded. The yelling started, accusations, outrage, insults. I let her go off for a minute, then cut in. I also sold the car. It was in my name. I don't need it, and you can't finance it. That pushed her over the edge. She was screaming at this point, asking where I was, when I'd be home, how I could do this to her. I answered plainly, it won't matter. Find somewhere else to stay. Let me know the date and time you want to collect your things. You're not setting foot inside my house again. Then she started shouting again, calling me names I won't even repeat here. I hung up, but watched her through the doorbell camera. She stood outside the apartment door for about 20 minutes. She tried the key again and again, like maybe it'd suddenly work. Then she called someone. Another 15 minutes later, her friend, Gina, pulled up and picked her up. The next day, my phone rang. I almost didn't pick up, but I recognized the number. It was Gina. I figured, all right, let's see what this is about. She started out calm, said she just wanted to talk, so I let her speak. I thought she was just trying to act as a bridge or whatever. But pretty quickly, her tone started shifting. She eased into defending Selena without saying she was defending her. Said things like, I'm just trying to understand, Brady. Don't you think changing the locks was a little extreme? Then came, and the car? I mean, selling it? That's a big move. I just told her plain and simple. The condo is mine. My name's on the lease. Selena didn't contribute a cent. She wanted space, and I gave it. As for the car, yeah, it was in my name too. I bought that car, maintained it, paid insurance on it. It was my car. I had no use for it anymore. I sold it. End of story. She kept going, trying to poke holes, like I was supposed to feel guilty. That maybe I should have waited or talked to Selena first. I realized this wasn't a neutral call anymore. It was a guilt trip, just dressed up politely. I was tired of it. So I cut her off and said, look, I'm not doing this back and forth. If Selena wants her stuff, tell her to text me a date and time to pick it up. That's it. And I hung up. Later that evening, I got the text. 8 a.m. the next morning. I didn't reply. Instead, I got up early the next morning, around 6:30. Took my time, made coffee, then got to work. By 7:45 a.m., I had everything she owned neatly packed and lined up right outside the condo door. I made sure nothing was damaged or missing. I just wanted it over and done with. Around 8 a.m., they showed up. Selena and Gina. I heard the knock. I didn't answer it. They knocked again. Then I heard Selena try her old key. Of course, it didn't work. I watched everything through the doorbell camera. She looked straight into it and called my phone. I let it ring twice before picking up. Her voice was sharp. Open the door, Brady. We just want to check if anything's missing. I told her calmly, there's nothing left inside. I triple-checked. Everything that's yours is right there in those boxes. She kept pushing. Come on, we just need 5 minutes. I cut her off. No. You're not coming back in here. That chapter's closed. She tried again, raising her voice this time, but I wasn't about to argue through a door. I simply stopped responding. I stood off to the side and just watched. They argued between themselves for a bit. Gina gestured toward the door like she was about to bang again, but Selena held her back. Eventually, they started picking up the boxes. A couple of the bags were heavy. I saw Gina struggle with one, but neither of them said a word. They made 2 trips to the car, loading everything up. And just like that, they were gone. Later that evening, right after Selena and Gina left with her things, my phone lit up with a message from her. It was a long one. She said she made a mistake, that she didn't know what she was thinking, claimed her ex meant nothing, that it was just a lapse in judgment. She said she'd been overwhelmed, confused, and that being around him reminded her of who she was before things got so heavy. I read every word. I just wanted to see how far she'd go to rewrite what she did. When I finally responded, I kept it short. I said, respect isn't something you put on pause. I don't take back people who leave me for someone else. That was the last message I ever sent her directly. After everything, I wasn't about to start a back and forth. A few months went by. Someone mentioned she'd moved in with Gina. I wasn't surprised. Selena didn't really have anywhere else to go. Her relationship with her parents had always been rocky, and I guess Gina offered her a place to crash. But that situation didn't last long. Gina isn't me. She doesn't have the patience, and she sure as hell doesn't have the income to carry another adult. From what I heard, They started fighting a lot. Turns out, Gina got tired of the freeloading. Couldn't handle Selena's mood swings either. They fell out. And, just like that, Selena was back where she started, living with her parents again. Full circle. As for her and her ex, I have no idea what happened there. I never cared enough to find out. People sometimes expect you to go digging, to keep tabs, but when you really heal from something, you don't keep peeking at the wound. I have no clue if she's still with him or if he left her too. Whatever mess they ended up in, I just hope she found exactly what she was looking for when she walked out that door. Funny thing, at some point, she threatened to sue me over the car. Yeah, said I had no right to sell it, even though the title, the insurance, everything was under my name. I didn't respond to the threat directly, but I was prepared. I kept every receipt, every document. I suspect a lawyer set her straight, because she never followed through. And even now, believe it or not, she still messages me sometimes. Every couple of months, like clockwork. Little attempts to reopen the door. A meme. A song. A hey, just checking in. As if we're old friends or something. I don't respond. I don't even open them anymore. Because to me, that chapter's done. That relationship is dead and buried. And I'm not the kind of man who digs up the past, hoping it smells sweeter the second time around. Anyway, if you've made it this far, thanks for listening. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'm curious to hear your take on it. What would you have done in my shoes? And if you found this story worth hearing, do me a favor. Like the video, share it with someone who needs to hear this, and maybe hit that subscribe button too. Appreciate you all.